I remember, as a young boy, accompanying my grandfather to a political rally. The energy was electric. Thousands had gathered, their voices rising in unison, a chorus of hopes and dreams for a better India. It was a powerful display of democracy in action. But, over the years, I've come to realize that the stage of Indian politics, while grand, often features a play with a predictable script. The reality is that for many Indians, the promise of democracy remains unfulfilled. The corridors of power are often occupied by those who prioritize personal gain over public service. The voices of the marginalized are drowned out by the clamor for power and wealth. It is this disillusioning reality that I wish to address, to peel back the layers of our political landscape and expose the challenges that lie beneath. This is not a critique born of cynicism, but rather a call for introspection, a plea for a more inclusive and equitable democracy. Indian politics, like much of the world, grapples with a stark economic divide. Those with immense wealth often wield disproportionate influence. Their fortunes fund political campaigns, their connections open doors, and their interests often dictate policy. This creates a system where the needs of the many are often sidelined for the benefit of the few. Farmers struggle for fair prices, laborers toil in precarious conditions, and small businesses grapple with bureaucratic hurdles. Meanwhile, the privileged few see their wealth multiply, their influence solidify, and their grip on power tighten. This is not to say that every wealthy individual in politics is corrupt or that poverty is a guarantee of virtue. However, the concentration of wealth at the top distorts the political playing field, creating an uneven battleground where money often trumps merit. Caught between the powerful and the impoverished is India's burgeoning middle class. Aspirational and hardworking, they strive for a better future for themselves and their children. Yet, they often find themselves politically marginalized, their voices lost in the din. The demands of daily life, long work hours, demanding commutes, and the constant pressure to provide leave them with little time or energy for active political participation. Many feel disillusioned by the political process, seeing it as corrupt and unresponsive to their needs. This lack of engagement creates a vacuum that is easily exploited by those with vested interests. The middle class, instead of being a driving force for change, becomes a silent spectator in its own destiny. At the bottom of the pyramid are India's poorest and most vulnerable citizens. They live on the margins of society, struggling for basic necessities like food, shelter, and healthcare. For them, politics often appears as a distant spectacle, a game played by the elite, far removed from their daily realities. Their lack of education and awareness makes them easy targets for manipulation. Politicians, aware of their plight, often resort to populist rhetoric and empty promises to secure their votes. They exploit religious and caste divisions, fanning the flames of identity politics to further their own agendas. This cynical exploitation of the poor perpetuates a vicious cycle of poverty and dependence. Instead of being empowered to improve their lives, they are trapped in a system that benefits from their vulnerability. Section 5. From Kings to Commoners. To understand the complexities of Indian politics, one must delve into its historical tapestry. For centuries, India was ruled by kings and emperors, their authority absolute and unquestioned. Then came the British, who, under the guise of the East India Company, gradually tightened their grip on the subcontinent. They exploited India's resources, imposed their will on its people, and left a legacy of economic exploitation and social division. However, the British also inadvertently sowed the seeds of democracy. Exposure to Western ideals of liberty and self-determination ignited a fire in the hearts of Indian intellectuals and reformers. They began to question the legitimacy of foreign rule and demanded a say in their own destiny. Section 6. The Rise of Parties. The Hope for Change. The fight for independence was not just a struggle for political freedom, but also for social justice and economic equality. Leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel envisioned an India where all citizens, regardless of their background, would have an equal opportunity to succeed. Post-independence, India adopted a parliamentary democracy, drawing inspiration from the British system. Political parties emerged, each with its own ideology and vision for the nation. The Congress Party, initially dominant, championed socialist ideals and a strong central government. Yet, the dream of a truly egalitarian society remained elusive. The legacy of colonialism, coupled with deeply entrenched social hierarchies, continued to cast a long shadow over the newborn nation. Section 7. Power versus People. As decades passed, the gap between the rich and the poor continued to widen. Economic liberalization in the 1990s, while boosting growth, also led to rising inequality. This economic disparity seeped into the political arena, further consolidating power in the hands of the wealthy and well-connected. Today, political power is often seen as a means to acquire and protect wealth, rather than serving the public good. Crony capitalism, where businesses thrive due to their proximity to those in power, has become rampant. This nexus between politicians, bureaucrats, and businessmen erodes public trust and hinders equitable development. The consequences are all around us. Basic services like education and healthcare remain inadequate for a vast majority of the population. Farmers struggle with debt and low incomes, driving many to despair. Infrastructure projects are often plagued by delays and corruption, hindering economic progress. Section 8. Beyond Riches, Towards Wisdom. If India is to truly progress, we need a fundamental shift in our political landscape. We need leaders who prioritize the well-being of the nation over personal gain, who are driven by a genuine desire to serve, not by the lure of power or wealth. Education plays a crucial role in this transformation. We need to nurture a new generation of politically aware citizens, equipped with critical thinking skills and a strong moral compass. They should be able to see through empty rhetoric, demand accountability from their leaders, and actively participate in shaping the destiny of our nation. However, education alone is not enough. We also need to address the root causes of corruption and cronyism. This requires strengthening institutions, promoting transparency, and ensuring accountability at all levels of government. Section 9. A new standard for leadership. To break the cycle of power and privilege, we need to rethink our criteria for political leadership. Instead of wealth and lineage, we need to prioritize qualities like integrity, competence, and empathy. We need leaders with a proven track record of public service, individuals who have demonstrated their commitment to social justice and economic equality. They should be individuals of impeccable character, with no taint of corruption or criminal wrongdoing. Furthermore, we need to create a level playing field that encourages qualified individuals from all sections of society to enter politics. This requires reforming electoral laws, providing financial assistance to deserving candidates, and creating a safe and inclusive space for political participation. Section 10. A brighter dawn awaits. The challenges facing Indian politics may seem daunting, but I remain optimistic about the future. India is a young nation, full of energy, talent, and a deep-rooted belief in democracy. Change will not come easily, nor will it happen overnight. It requires a collective effort from each and every citizen. We need to reject the politics of division, hold our leaders accountable, and demand a system that works for all. The journey ahead might be long and arduous, but the destination is worth striving for. An India where every citizen has an equal opportunity to realize their full potential, and where the grand ideals of our Constitution are reflected in the daily lives of our people. Let us work together to build that India. a nation that lives up to its promise of justice, liberty, and equality for all.